Before I read this email to you that one of my viewers wrote in, I want to read something from the book of Revelation, chapter 17. John wrote this book when he was on the island of Patmos, and he saw very many visions while he was there. He was shown things in the heavenly places. Even Paul, he said, I know a man who was caught up into the third heaven, and what he saw, Paul said, I can't even write about these things. You can't even speak about these things, right? How do you put words into such things? And John did a pretty good job of writing the things that he has seen. And in Revelation chapter 17, starting in verse 1, it says, Then one of the seven angels who had the seven bowls came and said to me, Come, I will show you the judgment of the great prostitute who is seated on many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed sexual immorality, and with the wine of whose sexual immorality the dwellers on earth have become drunk. And he carried me away in the spirit into a wilderness, and I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast that was full of blasphemous names, and it had 7 heads and 10 horns. The woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet, and adorned with gold and jewels and pearls, holding in her hand a golden cup full of abominations and the impurities of her sexual immorality. And on her forehead was written a name, a mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of prostitutes and of earth's abominations. And I saw the woman drunk with the blood of the saints, the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. When I saw her, I marveled greatly. But the angel said to me, Why do you marvel? I will tell you the mystery of the woman and of the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns that carries her. So I'm just going to stop there. So we have a beast that this woman is sitting on. Now, when I was a Jehovah's Witness, I was taught that the woman that was sitting upon the beast was the world empire of false religion. Her name, Babylon the Great, the world empire of false religion. She's a prostitute. But not the Jehovah's Witnesses, because they are the only empire of the true religion, according to the religious leaders. The wild beast that she sat upon, well, that was the United Nations, the UN, right? I want you to think of that and remember that when I'm sharing this story with you. It reads, Dear Brother Lehre, hi all. Growing up JW, I never felt close to God. I lived in an extremely abusive home, but I loved God. I was what's called a born-in. I tried to be a good witness. I felt like my prayers hit the ceiling and stopped. I sought help from my mom and sisters and the elders. All of them said the fault was in me. Secret sin or not sacrificing enough of something, but it was all my own fault. So I decided to sacrifice more by going in service more. Let me just pause here real quick, you guys. In case you're not familiar with the Jehovah's Witnesses, going in service is when they are preaching their stuff to you. They are either door to door, they're out in the streets, in parks, standing by booths, wherever they go. That's called going out in service when they're preaching their stuff, right? Let's continue. So I decided to sacrifice more by going in service more. That didn't work, so I went in service more. That didn't work, so I went in service more. Eventually, I was getting 150 hours in service, and it was becoming easy, not really sacrificing anymore. Now, let me pause there again. Getting 150 hours, this isn't annually, you guys. This is monthly. This person was going out every month 150 hours preaching the Jehovah's Witness doctrine. Isn't that incredible? I didn't really have any secret sins, although anyone listening to the gossip thought I was a massive sinner, but the gossip wasn't true. I just didn't conform to the degree that they wanted me to. Let me say that again. I just didn't conform to the degree they wanted me to. Eventually, after God didn't save me from being molested by my father, something that's very, very common, you guys, in the Jehovah's Witnesses religion. So much of this going on, you guys. After God didn't save me from being molested by my father, I decided God didn't care about me at all. So I quit praying altogether. Why bother? I went through the motions for meetings because my whole life was tied up in it. My family later on, my husband, his family, my friends, but I was tired of the meetings. I never learned anything new. The leash kept getting tighter. They kept taking away the few fun things we could do in groups. I reached a point that I hated it, and I wanted some space to get my head together. So I walked away from my family, my friends, my husband, everything. I got disfellowshipped on purpose. I wanted some freedom, space to discover who I was. I always intended to go back eventually. During this time, my non-Jehovah's Witness aunt sent me links to prove that Jehovah's Witnesses had joined the UN, the United Nations. I told her that wasn't true, and she was listening to apostate lies. Apostates are people like me, people that have left the Jehovah's Witnesses religion, right? So they're just listening to she's listening to apostate lies. But her aunt's a patient woman, she says, and she waited. 2 years later, she sent it again. I was irritated this time and decided the only way I could convince her was to do the research and show her it was all lies. So I did my research, and the bottom fell out of my world. I was rocked to the core. I had been totally deceived. I did research on every topic for 3 days until I thoroughly understood the degree to which I had been deceived. Then I went into shock, clinical shock. I was violently angry at God. I was enraged at all I had endured in his name for nothing. I shook my fist at him and blasted him in my pain. I told him that I didn't know his name or if he even existed. I told God to prove to me right now you're real, that you care about me. I told him if he would prove to me he loves me, I would search for him all my life and serve him the rest of my life. But I needed proof this minute. And suddenly, I was enveloped in this love, all-encompassing love that vibrated through my body. It surrounded me and reverberated from God to me and me to God and to all living beings. I was overcome by this love and felt it heal decades of heartache from abuse. I knew then I had always been loved completely and without reservation, despite my failings. God simply loved me. Then, as the Apostle Paul says, whether it was in the body or out, I do not know. But I was transferred to heaven in front of the great white throne. It is massive. I could only see up to Jesus' knees. So bright. Everyone, as far as the eye could see, was prostrate in prayer. We were all vibrating love to God and one another, and he gave it back to one and all. It was, at the same time, deeply personal. While he sent love to everyone at the same time, It was individual to them, personal love. I looked around and everyone had on white robes and were weeping with joy as they worshiped God in love and gratitude. God showed me in my mind's eye the cells in my thigh muscle to show me that He knew every fiber of my being. He knew everything about me. It was then that I confessed my nature to Him, not individual sins. They really don't matter in a sense. Jesus wanted me to recognize my nature. I gave all of me to Him, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I faced who I was in my most secret places in my heart and gave it to God. I was so humbled. He brought me to my knees. I swore I would search for Him and serve Him for the remainder of my life. Just that one moment basking in His love was enough. He never had to do another thing. That gift was so monumental that it changed me as a person forever. I am a very different person than I was before Christ changed me. I have walked toward Him ever since. I never waver. Sometimes I dawdle in my path a bit to focus on something He's put in my path, but I just keep marching along as I'm guided by Spirit. I will never, ever leave my friend Jesus, who showered me with such love. How could I? Thank you for your time and for letting me share. I rarely do anymore because people tend to want to make it something less than what it is. I don't want to sully this precious gift I was given. Wow. Wow, that was powerful, wasn't it, you guys? Thank you so much for sharing this email. Thank you so much. That's incredible. And I just think it's great that your aunt reached out to you and shared with you the knowledge that she had about the Jehovah's Witnesses leaders being affiliated with the United Nations, the United Nations, who they called the wild beast of Revelation, who the harlot Babylon the Great was writing, the harlot who is the mother of all the world's false religions, except for theirs, right? So I'm glad that you looked into the information your aunt gave you. Many, many Jehovah's Witnesses would just ignore it and say, no, that's apostate type stuff. That's evil. I'm not going to look into it. La, 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 la. Can't hear it, can't see it. No way. They shut their eyes and plug their ears, don't they? I know. I used to be one of them until I had my own experience as well and started looking into things for myself. I remember years ago when I was coming out of the Jehovah's Witnesses religion, starting to exit out of there, I too found out this information that you shared today, and it was shocking to me as well. But today, not so shocking at all, is it? Anyway, I want to thank you so much for sharing that email with me, you guys, and with this audience. That was really amazing of you. And if any of you want to share your story with me and you want me to share your story, email me at michaellehre@yahoo.com. Michael Lehre is spelled MichaelLehre @yahoo.com. Share your story with me and remember to be specific. Do you want me to share your name with the audience or not? First name, not last name, first and last, whatever you want, you guys. I will respect you and I won't share it with anybody. So thank you so much for watching. Remember, if you want to share your story with me, email me at michaellehre@yahoo.com and I'll read it to this audience. Thanks for watching, you guys, and I'll see you next time.